If you want to share a really fast and effective self relief technique for your clients, then definitely listen up. This is coming from the nervous system regulation world, and it's going to sound quite peculiar because it's not going to be the traditional breath work that I will be giving you. As a matter of fact, this is something that I like to give all of my clients and my students, even though they're in the personal development world. And this is something that is going to be easier rather than going with breath first, because a lot of the times most people breathe irregularly. And what we can do is make things worse for them, their stress level worse, and can cause stress hunger, especially if that client is very, very highly dysregulated, especially if they're in freeze. So this fast and effective stress release technique is going to bypass all the potential hit or miss results if we were to just focus on breath, because a lot of people find it very, very distressing, especially if that person has a background of chronic lung and respiratory conditions such as asthma, COPD, emphysema, and all of those related health conditions. So this one is very, very much foolproof. And why this is so important is because we're using the major proprioceptive mechanism of the body. And what that means is that in our body, we use proprioception, which is where our body is in space. And this is happening unconsciously. Our nervous system is always detecting where the hell our joints are in space. And this really affects how we feel safe, the level of stress and threat that we're always perceiving. A nervous system that doesn't know where the body is in space because we're disconnected and dissociated from our bodies makes it very stressful. And that's why we feel this dysregulation. And so that's why it's important to really use this really important part of our body, which is our feet, our connection of our feet to the ground beneath us. Now, you don't have to go out in the grass and go barefoot in the grass unless you want to. There's nothing wrong with that, but this can be done in anywhere, anytime, even just at your desk right here. I'm at my desk and I use this all the time. This is a great way to regulate you and keep you grounded, calm the chaos, calm the monkey mind, decrease your overwhelm, and even increase your motivation if you so know how to do it properly. And you can teach this through all your clients. And it's really just paying attention to the sensory information of your feet. How well can you detect your feet onto the ground, onto the floor, and the sensory information that is on your feet? If you have trouble feeling your feet, then you can say this is the floor and this is your feet or your foot. You can just rub it in first to increase that sensory information there. Eventually, with time, you'll be more connected to that part of your body, and that mind-body connection solidifies. And sometimes, if we are in fight or flight, we can be very like grounded onto the floor. And then what we can do is if you're too overwhelmed, is think of easing and melting onto the floor. This is something that you want to play around with based on what your goal is. If you lack sensory information, then you can rub your feet on the floor together to increase that sensory perception there, and you'll find yourself feeling more alert. If you are too overwhelmed and your feet are like really stuck on the floor, rock solid, because you're about to fucking fight or flight, then can you just melt onto the floor and relax that death grip onto the floor? This is a very simple technique that uses specificity, which is very, very important in order for you to regulate your nerve system. You can't just do a breath work or this practice just because. There needs to be intention and a specific way to do it. The right tools at the right time and the proper sequences is what creates the fast and lasting stress relief. So really, at the end of the day, it is all about increasing your sensory information and input from the foot. And when you actually increase that sensory information from the foot up to the brain, it tells your brain where your body is at in space, especially your feet, which is what it relies on the most. It's where it gets a lot of proprioceptive information from. And if you can feel that contact point on the floor, and really be mindful as to how you're feeling in your feet and your body. That bodily signal then moves up to the brain and tells the brain that it is safe. We are here. There's something solid underneath us. We're not floating around in space in our thoughts and in our emotions. And when you do that, that creates such a solid, fast stress relief, because it immediately brings the nervous system back into the middle, that balance parasympathetic state, when you can melt onto the floor when you're freaking the fuck out, or you can increase the sensory information if you're in shutdown or freeze and lacking mind-body connection. So really super duper powerful. This is one of the most simple ways that you can use for your clients immediately today. Even try this out for yourself today. Such a simple process, and everyone can learn this. Everyone really needs to start doing this these days. It helps us get grounded when we are way too low or way too overwhelmed or anxious. And you can do it anywhere, anytime. No one even has to notice, which is what I love the most about it. And so if you are someone who has had a tough year, there's absolutely no shame in that. A lot of us have had a tough year, but it doesn't have to stay this way. If you are someone who's committed to turning things around over the next year and prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, and you want to relieve stress because you know stress wreaks havoc like a tornado all over our bodies. If you are serious about taking your health seriously and want to decrease your inflammation, decrease pain, increase your ability to be adaptive and put yourself out there, then definitely sign up for the Superpowered Stress series, where you will learn the exact tools just like this to help you have daily prompts to ensure that you train your nervous system to go back to the parasympathetic rest, digest, and heal state. And the practices that I'll give you are just as simple as this and very, very cool. If you learn something new today about your proprioception and safety, then there's a lot more where that came from. And because of this, you can then start feeling like $1,000,000. You can calm the chaos, calm that monkey chatter, that negative inner critic, and you can stop the overwhelm from taking over your life and take action on the things that lift you up, just like helping clients. And so comment below SSS to get your link to sign up for this life-changing program, because then you can also teach your clients, which just improves your impact. So any questions at all, let me know and I'll